of Chicago. I am a senior data scientist out here. Um, so today topic will be revolutionize learning with generative AI. Our speakers will be Sundar from Microsoft. Sundar is a digital transformation leader with Microsoft. Then we have Alex. I mean, he is also a digital transformation leader, specializing in Microsoft Copilot. So he will be talking about Copilot, how it works, how you can uh, customize Copilot, and then he will be
Yeah, we're
also
talking
going
about
through all
Copilot. So
through a lot of
AI is
use
one of the
cases
things.
also. And then we will be also talking, and then Sarmat will be giving you a live demo of a virtual teaching assistant. So I mean, we have, created a generative AI teaching assistant. And I mean, it is being used by many universities right now. So he will be showing you a live demo of that. And then Sai, who is another data scientist with Royal Cyber, he will be talking about Microsoft Fabric. So how you can get data from multiple sources, bring it to a lake house, and how you can use generative AI to ask any question about your data. So, just a high level about us very quickly. So, we are based in Chicago. We have been in business for about 15 plus years. We are about 2,500 people worldwide. We were the best place to work in Chicago for the past many years, and we are a Microsoft Gold partner. Here is the high level agenda. So, we will start with the future of AI in education, and then Copilot, and then Fabric. So I think I have Sundar on the call with me, and Sundar will be just give a high level overview about Microsoft and Microsoft Azure and generative AI. So Sundar, yeah, please go ahead.
Thanks, Mustafa. Good morning, everyone. So, as Mustafa said, I'm Sundar Ramakrishnan. I'm an Azure specialist from Microsoft. We are working closely with the Royal Cyber and team. I don't know, can you, can you hear me? Can you all hear me?
Yes,
Okay, great.
yes, yes.
So yeah, so we are working with the Royal Cyber. They, like Mustafa said, they are our gold partner. We are seeing a lot of success with them implementing several use cases of Gen AI. In today's session, and they're going to show a lot of demos. But before we get in a demo, I just want to quickly talk about Gen AI rationalization strategy. Right? Sometimes we have so many tools, when to use what and kind of thing. So if you can see the first column on your left is a Gen AI as a SaaS. That's your Copilot Enterprise. You can see it in your Bing or Edge. There it's a public, the chat where you can get into the internet, do whatever you want it on the public side. And then we have a M365 Copilot, Security Copilot, and all those are SaaS product built on top of Gen AI. It has a different functionality. We can talk more about our Copilot if needed. So that's a if you're looking for built-in zero maintenance, and if you want to use Office Productivity Suite, or if you want to use in security, that's our Copilot, M365 Copilot. But if you want to have some legacy enterprise apps like PeopleSoft, SAP, or Workday, or some of the demo today they are going to show, that's a Copilot Studio. So we have a tool, Copilot Studio, where you can integrate that with the plugins. You can integrate those LOBs. Those are low code, no code kind of scenario where you can just connect to them and have a GPT on top of it. Then the last two, that native Gen AI apps, it's like a bot. If you want to create a bot in a campus, you want a student, professor, or faculty or staff, they want to it's pretty much intranet, right? Let's call it like, if you want a internal data, you want a student want a query or faculty wants to do some GPD, that's your that you can build your native apps on that. The last but not least, that's your Gen AI. That's where the AI studio comes in a picture, where you can do advanced level of like reimagining the business process, and then workflow, and then you want to do some precision learning and precision medicine, all those the advanced level, you can use those AI studios. So if we want to summarize it, SaaS, our Copilot is a SaaS product. Copilot Studio is a low code, no code if you want to integrate with some of the applications, and we have an advanced level for AI Studio. With that, I want to hand it over to the Royal Saber team, and let us know if any questions on this. Mustafa, back to you. You are on mute, Mustafa.
Yes. Let's start with some of the key education AI use cases we are seeing right now. So AI tools will, increasingly be embedded into workplace as well as, educational and content development tools. So something, I mean, like, which we are seeing right now is that, let's say that if, a student miss a lecture, right? And I mean, he wants to know that, okay, what did I miss last week? So he can go to this Gen AI, basically assistant, and then he can ask that, okay, what did I miss last week? If, I mean, he is not doing well in some, midterm, right? He can ask a question that, okay, I'm not doing well in this midterm. Gen AI, can you please guide me? I mean, how can I get a good grade in this course, right? So those sort of use cases which we are seeing a lot. Besides just the courses, right? Every university, every college has, career support. They have resume support. They have other financial aids. So if they have any questions, instead of trying to get an appointment to basically talk to somebody, they can go to that particular Gen AI, assistant, and they can ask that question from them. And then besides just the courses, AI can be trained on large amount of, student data to to identify success patterns, right? So if somebody is not doing well, right, instead of waiting, till the end, we can say that, okay, this this particular uh, a student, based on this scenario, he won't be doing good in the future. Besides, and then I mean, there are many tools, there are many use cases for faculty. So faculty, one of their biggest complaints are is that, I mean, they have to grade a lot of, assignments and white papers and all, all sort of things. So Gen AI can provide very amazing, valuable feedback to faculty for that. That can reduce a lot of their time. And then in the university IT staff and other, basically administration staff, a lot of universities, they use Workday for human resources. They use ServiceNow for their, IT, help desk. Instead of trying to go to ServiceNow and try to figure out, okay, what are the top priority one uh, tickets are, they can just go to Gen AI and say that, okay, tell me all the priority one, tickets still not solved. Or they can say that, if they have a human resource question, they can ask it, okay, how many vacations do I have left, right? So instead of, so I mean, it can make that whole user, experience very, easy. And I think we will be seeing a lot of those, demos shortly. Okay, so I think we, I mean, talked about a lot of different AI use cases. So what are some of the commercial AI models and tools are currently available? So OpenAI, I think everybody is like familiar with OpenAI. right now. So GPT-4o, which is the number one right now, but about last week, they just released a new model, which is GPT-O1, which is besides just giving you an, basically answer that what is the capital of France, Paris. Now, I mean, you can give him very complex problem, and the O1 models have also reasoning behind it. So it is getting smarter day by day. So here are some of the tools which are available for you to use. Now, what are the some of the issues with commercial AI tools for higher education? So definitely to use these tools, I mean, student and faculty need accounts, right? So right now, I think some of the universities, they have asked their students and faculty to create free accounts, but eventually they will, if they want to use the full functionality, they will be needing to pay that. So that's one of the things. And then inconsistent experience, because everybody is using different tools. Like some are using Anthropic, some are using OpenAI, so some are using Perplexity. So they have different experience in that. And then data is not secure. So when if your IT staff is like uploading proprietary files on the public models, so that data could be used to train other models, right? So that is one of the concerns there. So what are some of the key questions for like understanding AI literacy? So how can we provide faculty and students with safe and secure AI tools? How can we assure the security of institutional data? And how can we fine tune secure models for specific student uses in higher education? So I think these are some of the questions which all higher education is trying to solve. And I think you have a couple of options available: open source or the cloud hosted models. For the hosted model, you have Azure Open AI Studios, and for the open source, the number one is Meta Llama. And then if you go with the Azure AI Studio, it gives you out of the box some of the features which are mentioned out here, like uh, text attachment input for custom training, code visualizer, image generation, computer vision. So all of these can be done very easily for some of your use cases. Okay, and so what is the future of AI in education? So there is no question about whether AI will be important to the future, because it is a key component for the future. So we need to learn and prepare students for how to use AI so that they use it the right way. And we will be showing you one of the use cases which we have created, which is a virtual, teaching assistant. One of the biggest student complaints is that they never get enough time with the teaching assistant or the faculty, right? So uh, we have created this generative AI teaching assistant which can answer any questions about the quiz, grade, homework, about the course, and anything which you would normally ask a teaching assistant. So I will ask Sarmat to now, go through this virtual teaching assistant, and if you have any questions, and then we'll take it from there.
So, Mustafa, I see one hand's raised from
Yes,
Anton.
please.
Yeah, hi. Just had a quick question. Will will AI actually help teachers evaluate work? So, in other words, you mentioned that that's a huge area that takes a lot of time is the evaluation. So, my question is if what you're suggesting is AI assisting instructors to evaluate work, um, how is that going to how is AI going to be able to evaluate original work in the same way that an instructor would, because I completely agree that for in some situations AI is more than capable of evaluating work that it's familiar with, work that it actually has seen um, previous work done in a similar area. But depending on the type of student work,
I got your
in
question.
many
Yeah.
cases
Yeah.
it's original work. So how is
Yeah.
AI going to be able to evaluate that?
Yeah, so I think there are, so one of the use cases is that students always complain that they don't get the assignment feedback from the faculty quickly, right? So and I mean faculty always complain that because they have so many assignments to like grade, it is very hard for them to reply to them quickly. So generative AI models can be trained on the assignment, and then when the students submit that particular assignment, it can be trained to provide to just help the faculty members to uh, to provide the feedback, and then it won't submit the feedback, basically automatically it will provide the feedback to the faculty members, and the faculty members can either append it or to that particular feedback. So it is not completely replacing it, it is just providing that first level of feedback which can be modified by the professors.
Okay, thank you. And there's a confidence level that it will be able to evaluate original work, meaning, work that it may not be familiar with, because, part of the creative process is looking for originality. So in those cases, do you have confidence that AI will be able to evaluate original work that it may not has ever seen before? Do you
Yes.
think it would be able to evaluate it in a
It
competent
is,
way?
yes. I mean, you can, I mean, fine tune the models to basically bring it to your level of satisfaction.
Okay, thank you, Moss.
Thank you. Yes, please. Okay.
All right. So, good morning, everyone. I hope you guys can see my screen. Just give me a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Great. So, let's talk about the virtual teaching assistant that Mass was already, discussing with everyone. So, we call this product as ClassBuddy. In this particular screen that you're seeing, this is the virtual teaching assistant's chatbot, and over here it is connected to one of the courses, which is operations management, and the professor who is teaching is named John Sterling. So let's put ourselves into the shoe of a student. You are enrolled in a class which has around 70 students, and the professor is coming and throwing new stuff every other time in every new class. So at times it becomes really difficult to grasp all those concepts. The next thing that is available to you by your university is the human teaching assistant. But that teaching assistant is also a student and is not only taking care of your section, but he is concurrently, attending 3 or 4 sections, and every section has around 70 to 80 students. So that would mean she would not have enough time to answer all the questions, and whatever doubts are being cleared in those 1 or 2 hours assigned by that TA every week are not enough. The next thing that start is the email communication chain, and that chain actually creates communication overheads, decreases your learning curve. But now you have a virtual teaching assistant which is available to you 24 by 7. Let's assume I'm going to continue the example that was shared by Mass, as he said, like, I wasn't feeling well in the last class. Can you explain me what did I miss there? So this particular teaching assistant is connected to the learning management systems. In this particular case, the learning management system that it is integrated with is Canvas. And in the Canvas, it is picking information from the course named Operations Management. It goes and looks into different sections of Canvas. From there, it understands what I'm talking, what dates I'm referring, and from where it should get the relevant chunks of information to generate the final response. So it says, I'm going to zoom it a little bit, and then you can see, like, it says, in the last class, which was class session 5, we learned lean operations. These were the topics like which were covered. These were the readings that we had to do. These were the videos that we had to watch, and these are the assignments. So now, whatever you are seeing over here is all context aware. The large language model is not writing anything that is hallucination, that is being like from its own memory. Rather, you can use the links, and once you click the links, it's going to take you to, different instances of Canvas. And then you can see that the same information is mentioned over here as well. So that is the cross validation, right? Now, moving forward, if I ask a question like, how many assignments are there in this course? So again, it's going to go and look into the assignment section, and from there, it's going to grab the number, like there are total 7 assignments, and it's going to give you the detail, like very descriptive way. It's going to explain you like these are the details of your assignments that you need to, complete for this particular course. So as you can see, like it says the description of the assignment, then it has points, then it has due date, then it has submission type, link to the assignment. You can go and submit the assignment, start working on it, and finally the module with which in which that particular assignment is referenced, right? So it's going to continue writing, but I'll jump on to another question. Now let's assume that you're struggling with one of the concepts in the courses, right? You can just go and ask a question like one of the concept in this course is Little's law. We can say like explain me Little's law. Now it's going to look into the files that are being uploaded, the presentations, as well as, whatever the course content is made available. And from there, it's going to bring that information. In the meanwhile, while it is generating the response, I'm going to show you the second piece of this particular. Okay, it has generated. So you can see like it says Little's law is a fundamental principle concept. It's going to give you explanation on each of the variables that is part of the Little's law's equation. It's going to very nicely write and explain everything in your equations, mathematics, numericals. It's going to give you explanation. It is even telling you the application of that particular law. And then it is finally giving you an assumption, then some key, like an example and some key assumptions, right? Now, I can go and ask questions which are administrative. Let's assume if I ask a question, what was the latest announcement made in the class? So it says the recent announcement made in the class was about final exam and tutorial 3 recording. That was posted on this date and that was posted by this person. So now this is the content of the announcement. And you have all the links that you can click and go and see the recordings if you want. And you can view the full recording even by clicking on this link, right? Now I can go more general. Like I am a lazy student. Help me in getting a grade in this course. So again, it's going to consider each and every bits and pieces of data sources that is processed and made available to this particular model. And from there, it's going to understand the question and give you the answer. Like if you're not doing well, what step you should take ideally to, bring come up to the performance. Like you might want to attend all the classes, you might want to submit all the assignments in time, such kind of things. So again, like let it complete and then we can go towards other questions. So these are the steps that the model is suggesting to get an A grade in this particular course. Understand the syllabus. You have the link to the syllabus as well. Stay updated with announcements. Whatever announcements are there, it's going to bring them up and see like if there are important dates, deadlines, or assignments or quizzes, exams are posted. So that is important to, understand. And once it's done with the announcements,
So
It is
I
actually
think
telling you you also have to be the part of discussions that are going on. You have to complete assignments and quizzes on time. Then you have to review course content regularly. Like you have to form study groups. You have to reach out for help if needed. You have a TA if you have a professor, right? And then if I ask a question like, um, are there any student groups in this course? So now it even have the information of the students which are enrolled in this particular course and what groups they belong to. So as you can see, like it's giving detail about groups, like group G has these members, group H has these members, and all of the members of those groups, and even those which are not part of any of the groups, right? Now I'm gonna like it even have the understanding like which particular person is talking to the bot. If I ask a question like, do you know who I am? So it understands like you are Sarmadavsil if you have any specific questions. If I ask like, am I also enrolled in any of the student groups? So see, it says like you are not enrolled in any of the student groups. You are listed in teaching assistants and support category, which is correct. Now, another important thing to look into this particular model is that sometimes the large language model would give you an answer, even if the answer is not right, or it would suggest you something. But this particular assistant is prompt engineered to ensure that it only gives you the accurate information. If I ask a question like, are there any discussions going on in the class? So it says like there are no discussions going on in the class, which is like totally correct and makes sense. There are actually no discussions in that particular course. All right. Then finally, you have a notification button over here. Sometimes in Canvas, what happens is that people or maybe professors would post different deadlines, announcements, stuff like that, and that basically goes into the emails of every enrollment in that particular course, be it a student, support staff, or faculty member. So we are fetching those notifications as well and making it a one-stop window where you can come and look into all the details that are very necessary for you for that particular course. Now, the second part of this particular project is the GPT builder. This GPT builder is an interface that would be visible to the professor where he can come and customize and configure his course. So in this particular screen, you can see like you can set up whatever conversation starters you want. You can change them, they would appear over there. You can, if let's assume you just posted an assignment, you can have that over here. Like let's just start with practicing the latest assignment, things like that. Also, we are providing you with a prompt template. That prompt template is something that is essential for setting the tone of the large language model. Now, if you're teaching a management course and at the same time someone else is teaching an engineering course, both of them have very different themes. One of them is going to talk more about applications, practical use cases, case studies, right? And on the engineering side, you want to go deeper into the equations, mathematics, and numerical analysis. So here you can come and explain the behavior that the model should adopt while answering the questions, as well as you can set the guardrails. What information should it tell to the student? What information it should not tell to the students? Once you've explained everything over here, you can simply update the prompt template and the changes would reflect in the virtual TA. Then you are given or provided with a course schedule. Now here you can come and say like you have let's say 5 classes, these are the dates, this is the timing of the class, and the model would use them to answer questions which are time referenced. Then we are also providing you with another file storage. Let's assume you have some files which you don't want to put on Canvas. You can simply upload them over here. After uploading, once you click on trigger, it's going to bring all that information after processing those files, and the model would be able to give responses to the students from those files. Now, as you can see, like we have four different data sources connected over here. These are totally customizable. For this instance, we are using Canvas, Finopto, file storage, and captioning. Let's assume you're using Brightspace, you're using Zoom or any other Google Classroom kind of learning management systems. Those are completely compatible and can be integrated. You can see like first step it's going to take is to go to Canvas. Second is Panopto. It's going to look at the videos. It's going to get the transcript of those videos, process them, and expose them to the large language model. Then you have file storage. Anything which is uploaded over here, it's going to be parsed and brought into the knowledge horizon of the virtual TA. Then finally, if there are any videos which are not captioned and are made available, our pipeline would make captions of those videos and then bring them up and put them into the large language models memory, so that it can give responses from the video recordings as well. Another important thing over here is the response history, where you can come and see like what chats were happening. Let's assume there's a conflict. The student came into the class and said the deadline that your virtual TA said was Wednesday, but the professor is claiming that to be today. So you can always go back and see like what conversation was happening, what exact responses were given by the virtual TA, so that you can drill down and have any conflicts highlighted. Furthermore, we are working towards features where you can actually run analytics on top of it, which would explain you the trend that the students are following, like the pattern of asking the questions and the way the model is giving responses. So that could be very insightful for professors for curating their courses in the next quarter. We are also implementing feedback mechanism where you can see like how many are like having good sentiment score, how many are not having good sentiment score. So that's about it. Now I would like to hand over to Alex and he'll walk you through the Copilot technology.
While I mean, Alex, like, brings up the Copilot, if anybody has any questions on the virtual teaching assistants field, please feel free to share.
So there is one question on the chat. What's the pricing model, right? Mustafa, you want to take it or you want me to answer that?
Yeah, I think the pricing model basically depends on what type of sources do you have. So if you can reach out to us, I mean, like, we can then share with you one-on-one.
Yeah. And also there's another question in the chat window. How do you ensure the class buddies data-driven insights given to the facilities are free from bias, and especially when informing the teaching strategies and curriculum adjustment? Basically, they want to make sure that it treats neutral all the students, how the class buddy.
That's I think that's a very good question, and I think that's what Sarmad, I think, he showed in one of the samples, that if the large, if I think something, class buddy does not know, it will not try to basically hallucinate. It will only, you can say that, okay, if you don't know, then you just say that don't know. And unlike if you go to OpenAI, even if it doesn't know anything, it will try to give you some sort of response back. Okay, let's move to Alex.
Great.
Alex, yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. And, hello, everyone. My name is Alex. I'm part of the AI and ML practice here at Royal Cyber, and I'm going to talk about how you can supercharge your business productivity using Copilot and how you can build a custom Copilot using Copilot Studio. So Copilot is a generative AI assistant. It is an AI-powered assistant that works with Microsoft 365 applications. It uses large language models to provide contextual suggestions and to complete complex tasks. This tool can simplify complex tasks like programming or data analysis or anything. Right? It is designed to help users to be more productive and creative in their work. And I'm pretty sure like most of you guys are using Copilot in your organization, day in and day out. The Copilot, what we use is a Copilot for Microsoft 365, and let's see like how the architecture of Copilot is designed to answer all your questions. Now, anytime you have a user has a prompt, like for example, you open an Outlook, or you open a Microsoft Teams and you have a Copilot sitting in over there, most of the time when you have a prompt, all your data is already grounded inside your Microsoft Graph, which means all your 365 applications data are sitting inside your Microsoft Graph, which is the semantic index. So the Microsoft Copilot already has the context of all your data. Now, when a question is asked, like summarize the latest updates of a Fabricam project, right? It looks at the data which is grounded in the graph. It pulls out the relevant data and it modifies the prompt and sends it back to the large language model. Here, the large language model, which is Azure OpenAI, which is used, and it prepares a response back to the user based on the data it has received, and it sends back a response back to the user on the channel where he asked the question. So this is how your Microsoft 365 Copilot works today. Now this 365 Copilot is grounded tightly with your 365 applications. Now, not all the organization have all the data sitting in your Microsoft. Let's assume you have a data sitting in a service now as a knowledge base, or in a BMC remedy, or you have something in your CRM. Now you want to extend your Copilot to leverage that external data, right? So this is where we help organizations leverage the data which is outside of the Microsoft world and build custom Copilots for that purpose, right? So now Microsoft provides two different ways on how you can extend your Copilot. One is using plugins. Plugins are nothing but like when you take any third-party applications like ServiceNow or CRM, most of the applications in today's world are exposing the data in the form of like APIs. Any action items you need to do in the system, or any data you want to retrieve from the system, can be accessed via the APIs. And the other way is using a graph connector. Both has its own like pros and cons, and Microsoft by itself provides 100 to 200 custom graph connectors that can be connected to your CRM or a Salesforce or a ServiceNow or anything for that matter, right? And you can also build your own custom graph connector, which we will be showing like how you can build your graph connector. Now let's assume like when do you use what type of connectors for for reaching your data. Now let's assume you have a data sitting in your service now, and you want to ground all that data inside your Microsoft Graph. The reason behind, like, you want to get like a quicker response. So when you're using an API, which means like the question is understood by the Copilot, and then it tries to find the appropriate plugin, which is an API, and then it connects with that API, gets the data, and prepares a response for you, and gives you the response back. Now, if you want to avoid, you can pretty much see that there is going to be like some time which is going to be taken for doing that, right? Now, if you don't want to wait for that that seconds or something, then you can use a graph connector, which is going to give you data instantaneously. But now the other side of a graph connector is you have to constantly keep crawling your data and pulling the data from your third-party applications and pushing it inside your graph connector. So now, based on like what you need out of like how you want to connect to this, how you want your data to be answered, then you can use either a graph connector or a plugin. Now let's see like how this how this graph connector works. So you have an external data source, which can be a CRM, ServiceNow, Workday, anything for that matter. So you keep constantly pulling that data and ingesting your data into the Microsoft Graph, which is a semantic index. And you can use like any experience from Microsoft 365. You can search using you can search, or you can use a Copilot in your Microsoft 365, and all these data sources which are external are now available in the Microsoft Graph. So any questions you ask on this data will be answered by the Copilot. Now let's see like how, here's a short video of like how you can connect your own custom graph connector in case your data is not part of the connectors which is already provided by the Microsoft.
Hi everyone, myself Asfan here. Today we'll talk about how to build custom graph connector. We'll have an introduction to graph connector and then we'll see its architecture and we'll set up a custom graph connector. In the overview, we can see that we have a different line of application like project data, finance application, custom lab application, custom database. If we have to index the content of our custom business application into the Microsoft, as we have other Microsoft application like Microsoft 365, it's the place where Microsoft Graph came in action. Three things involved in building custom graph connector. First, we have to prepare content, then we have to authenticate, and then we have to push our schema to the graph connectors. And then here we'll see the step one. We have to prepare the content which we have to ingest. So we set up the content in the CSV file, and then we'll register our application to the admin center. We have to register app, we have to set up some permissions, and we have to generate client secrets, and then we have to copy all the credentials to use inside the application. In the third step, we'll set up our code where we will define the settings and provide the credential we copied. Then we define the schema, and then we'll create a graph helper class which will communicate with graph connector. And then we'll see its output like this in the Microsoft Copilot 365. We'll search some content which we prepared in the content, and it's producing the result on the basis of that content.
Yeah. So that was a graph connector. That's a custom graph connector which we use like an Excel file as a data source. It need not be like an Excel file always. It can be like a SQL or any other form of like data for that matter. Like, and you just ingest the data in the graph connector, and you can start communicating with the data. Now, one of the reasons like why most of the enterprises wants to build like an enterprise copilot for themselves is, let's say like Salesforce. Salesforce provides their own copilot, which is called Instant, right? ServiceNow has like Now Assist. So everyone are coming up with their own like copilot. Now, these are like these are like different copilots which is sitting in your teams or in your web application. And there is also a cost involved in it when it comes from like Salesforce or ServiceNow. Now we build like enterprise copilot integrating all these third-party systems and provide a unified place to access it in the form of like Teams or Slack. So Teams and Slack are the medium of communication in most of the organizations today, and we can create this enterprise copilot which integrates with all these systems, not just limited to these systems, and we can integrate with any other third-party system for that matter. And you can have Teams as a channel of communication, and you can have your questions answered from the Teams. Now, this is the solution architecture, whatever we have built. A user will log into Teams, and any question he has, like he is going to open his Microsoft Copilot or a custom Copilot which we built. And when a prompt is asked, it is going to pick the necessary connectors or a plugin, and it is going to talk to the third-party system, and it is going to do like any actions for you, or it is going to bring a response back from the system. Right. Here's the case study which we developed for one of our client, and he's like they are like a ceramic tile manufacturers. They have like a specific business requirement. One is like they want Teams to be a medium of communication to get their employees questions related to IT and HR answered, and they also want Teams to be like a or a Copilot to be like a mechanism to handle creating tickets in BMC remedy. Say for example, when you want to purchase a laptop. So right now what they do is they go to a system, they click on like, okay, I need to purchase a laptop, and then that takes to like a web page, and they have to fill in some information, and also they have to go through a document and see like on what scenario what laptop will be delivered to them. And so they want to eliminate everything like this, and they want to be like they want Copilot to be like a medium of communication, and they want Copilot to suggest them like what laptop should be ordered for them. And also they have like a unique case where some of their employees who are sitting in Japan, need to use this chatbot and ask questions in their native language, which means a person sitting in Japan want to have if he has like any question, he will be asking the question in Japanese, and the Copilot will be answered them back in the Japanese language. And they also had an integration with Agile Point, right? So they want this chatbot to be like maintain high standards of data security. They also want to ensure like there is no additional security vulnerabilities are introduced, and they want the data to be like protected, and also have like regulations maintained for this data. Right. Here is the architecture we came up with, where the end user will be using Teams as a medium of communication, and we'll be creating a Copilot which uses a large language model, and we'll be using Power Automate to connect to the third-party applications like BMC or Agile Point using APIs, and also we'll be integrating the SharePoint where their IT and HR knowledge base resides today. We also created a feedback loop mechanism where the users can provide a thumbs up or thumbs down based on the response they get from the Copilot. And also we provided a mechanism where they can create tickets in case their question is not answered properly by the Copilot. Here is a quick demo of how this Copilot is used in the company today. So for example, if they have to create a computer, they have to go order a computer. They are prompted with this screen where they pick what type of computer they need. They also go through the sheet to understand like what the laptop will be suited for them. Now, here's the enterprise Copilot that is looking for the same type of questions, and it also provides a suggestion like, okay, for your need, it will be like a Dell 16 Precision 7680 laptop. Here is other Copilots which we have developed, so that communicates with CRM. Say for example, if you are let's take a very basic use case of creating a lead. So if you have a lead which is coming to you and you want to create the lead, what you do today is go open the CRM and go to the place where you have to create the lead. You feed in all this information. Now with the help of a single prompt, you imagine like you're creating a lead in a CRM. So you can simply say like, okay, create a lead with Discovery Day 1 as company and dd1 at test.com as email, one last name as last name, and as title. So with this prompt, what it does is like, it understands your questions, takes your prompt and splits the reads the bits and pieces of this query, understand what is the company, last name, first name, and email, and it is going to invoke that proper endpoint, and it is going to create a lead in your CRM. Now, when I say like, okay, get me the top 5 leads from my account, it is going to bring all the leads, and you are going to see that this lead is being created in the CRM. So it not only just provides you with a question and answer, it also can provide you with suggestions. It can also do like some actionable items like this, right? So here is an example for here's another example where this Copilot is connected with ServiceNow. You can say like, okay, so day in and day out, like if you are like a heavy user of ServiceNow, then you are pretty much on the ServiceNow system. But then like if you're a manager, you're dealing with multiple systems, here's a single point of access where you can say like, okay, someone is asking you about like, hey, what happened to my incident? Now you can go to this Copilot and say, can you please summarize this incident, and it will be able to summarize the incident for you. Now this Copilot is connected with your knowledge base. You can say like, can you generate a resolution notes for this incident? So it is going to go to the knowledge base, try to find if there is any resolution that can be part for this incident. Then it is going to prepare this resolution notes for you, and you can also ask it to go and update the ServiceNow with this resolution notes, and it will be able to go update the resolution notes with this resolution it has come up with. So With that, I want to pass on to Sai, who is going to show you how to revolutionize the data management in education with Microsoft Fabric.
Thank you, Alex, and I hope everyone can see my screen. So let's talk more about revolutionizing how we are improving the data management systems within education with respect apart from the multiple other organizations. So let's first look into how the data journey looks like within the Fabric ecosystem. So, like any others ecosystem, the data journey always starts from the source. So, Fabric has multiple sources that can be ingested to it. Like you can have shortcut enabled sources, mountable sources. You can ingest data within the structured, unstructured formats, or you can also have streaming data sets into it. And once you have your ingestion methods fixed, you can use shortcuts, mounts, pipelines, data flows, event streams, everything to ingest the data into Lakehouse or the warehouse. And using notebooks or data flows and even pipelines, you can have multiple transformations done and again store it into the same Lakehouse. Once it is done and once you have transformed everything, you can either have a SQL endpoint exposed if you really want to analyze using SQL, or if you have some real-time analytic needs, you can also have KQL query sets used. This is the first step of the data journey where data engineering is done. You have ingested the data, transformed it, ready for analytics, and exposed some endpoints. Now here comes the data science and analytics part. So once you have the data cleaned and ready for analytics, you'll consume that, use notebooks, and make some experimentation, do some machine learning models, AI models, experiment with them, select the best one out of them, and publish one of those predictions into the lakehouse. And then you might have a Power BI report showcasing them, or even just the notebook itself, or even a SQL database that is pointed from SQL endpoint. In case of real-time analytics, you'll use the query set that we built using the data engineering stage, and directly you can directly expose it to Power BI, or you can even have multiple transformations done again and use an application like Data Activator to send you real-time alerts onto your applications like Teams or any other messaging service. So this is how a complete end-to-end data journey looks like within the Fabric. It has multiple personas, and we'll look at many of them in the next few slides. So let's talk more about data engineering, where data ingestion is considered. Now, the first thing that comes into mind when we're talking about data engineering in Fabric is Data Factory. So Data Factory is a persona within Fabric that enables cloud scale data movement, let's say ingestion, transformation, replication, everything at a cloud scale without having to worry about any of your latency requirements or server scaling requirements. You have hundreds of connectors readily available that can be used to ingest your data from your source to the destination, which is the lakehouse inside the fabric. You also have Power Query mode where if you are familiar with the Power BI and Power Query interfaces, you can use this to perform low-code Power Query for transformations. So this is how your pipeline activities are performed on your data sets in a sequential manner or even a trigger-based manner to have a higher granular control with minimal latency issues or server scaling issues. Now, one other thing where data engineering is primarily made in Fabric is Synapse data engineering. Many of you who have already used Synapse services from Azure might be familiar with this. So it has both low code and no code tools that you can use for both uh, orchestration and ETL development. So if you're primarily focused on using code, you can use Spark, you can use SQL, you can use R, Python, and even make some Spark jobs. And if you want to orchestrate them, you can use pipelines to orchestrate these notebooks or even have some low code transformations done using data flows. And all of these can be run on the cloud. And you can even have a trigger based mechanism to orchestrate them or schedule them using a refreshing, timely manner. Now, let's take at a higher level use case that most of the student organizations face, or even it's generic use case that every other organization these days face. Most organizations have their data scattered across multiple sources and it is in multiple formats. It is in different places where it is making it very difficult to have a unified view of what the data looks like. And in this case, because it is scattered across many places, even the data quality gets issues because of the inconsistencies we might face or the errors that we get while trying to analyze it. And since the quality is already a mess and it's already scattered, transforming it is almost impossible and it is very resource intensive. The solution that Fabric is proposing is to centralize your data from all these sources by breaking down the silos and have a unified data platform. And with this, you'll have an enriched data which is present in a single source, and you can ensure that it is always cleaned and validated. It is very efficient to have data processing done on a single unified platform. It will reduce your time and resource needs by a lot. And the benefits that you're getting out of it is to gain a holistic view of your data and achieve a better, accurate, and dependable insights from this, and even grow heaps of volumes when they grow and you do it efficiently. So once your data engineering process is done, you break down all the silos, build everything into it. You can just build these kinds of report using a simple Copilot prompt that I'll be showing in a short while. Now, once your data is ready, like it is ingested and readily transformed and ready for analytics, you will always have use cases for analytics and maybe even have machine learning problems that you might want to solve. So let's understand how a machine learning process happens in Fabric. So you have a business problem. You first have to translate that into a data problem and ideate that on. Once you have a data problem, you have to perform the data discovery and pre-processing, which we have done in the data engineering side, and use that to experiment and create machine learning models. In that cycle, we'll be doing this process repeatedly to get a better metric, which is sometimes accuracy, maybe sometimes a different one. So we'll get a better metric out of this experiments and choose a model that is satisfying our needs. And this cycle is a continuous process that keeps on happening based on the model metrics. Once we have chosen a model, we'll try to productionize it or operationalize it and then use insights generated from this. This is the overall data science process that we will be implementing in Fabric. Now, similar to Synapse data engineering, there is also Synapse data science persona within Fabric. So what this have is ML flow integrated to it. It also has distributed model training support. It has Azure OpenAI support, and it also have many of these Azure Synapse cognitive services integrations. So using all of these, you have very minimal need to worry about your dependencies most of the time, and you will be able to readily consume most of these through the licensing you already have, and with minimal extra cost you will be able to perform efficient machine learning and data science training processes. This is an example notebook that Fabric Data Science, Synapse Data Science has. And like you can see, it has a very intuitive approach where you can view the data right at hand and also use a Copilot if you need at any point of time. All this is a continuous cycle where your data is continuously enriched, added, your model is continuously trained and prediction used for your analysis and reporting. This is a solution architecture for most of the ML solutions that we propose, where you have your data coming from the end of the data engineering. You will be using the same or a different lakehouse. You'll be processing them, analyzing the data. Using ML flow, you will experiment with multiple models. You'll optimize the parameters, choose metrics that you want to optimize on, and based on the best one, you will save it, create a semantic layer for those predictions in the lakehouse. You can build your own reports or use Copilot to augment those reports into better ones. Now let's talk about the reporting stage, Power BI. So Power BI has many benefits when you're considering reporting. It is the industry leading reporting tool that is provided by Microsoft. Now, Power BI is also one of these personas within Fabric where you can have your reports built directly in a near real time with almost zero latency using the direct click mode that it is supporting in Fabric. So what direct click mode does is it avoids any of your data duplication or any of your direct queries that happens, and it thus gives you almost near real time and zero latency results when you're using it for reporting. So your reports are always real time. It has very minimal latency or almost zero. So this is one of the reports that we've created using nothing but just Copilot. So like you can see, it is even giving insights and it is creating reports that the data is connected to, and you have very minimal need to uh, use additional resources for Power BI. And if it's a beginner report or if you want to do some analysis yourself, you can even create what you want using nothing but just human language. We'll be seeing one simple video of how we're doing that.
Hello. Imagine you are a business sales executive of an imaginary company called Wide World Importers. You have a sudden meeting and you are in need of a sales analysis report. Instead of relying on someone, you can just open Microsoft Fabric, jump into the Power BI persona, and go to your workspace. Once you are in, locate your data model and hit Create Report. Using Copilot, you can use simple language prompt to ask for a sales report of your company. You may be asking for specific details like city-level sales, employee-level sales, trends of profits, and sales over time. The Copilot will then go ahead and generate a beautiful report with all the details you have asked for. You can even ask the Copilot to create more pages with more granularity, and it will give you that. In this case, we are asking for sales, profits, and taxes on a city level. All the detailed charts were given back on a new page. Now let's say we also want to add employee sales numbers in this. We can do that as well. Copilot gave the new bar chart for us to add it wherever we want on the page. Now that the report is done, you as a business person would also want some insights, which is also possible with Copilot. The Copilot understands the report and produces some thoughtful insights in a jiffy. These are all some of many capabilities of Copilot.
And that's it for the video. I hope you guys were also as excited as we were when we were creating this using Copilot. So this shows that the generative AI capabilities of Copilot are really fascinating. And when combined with Power BI, you can create awesome reports like one of these.
Hello.
And the final piece before going into the governance section is the real-time analytics within Fabric. So most of you have the logging details or telemetry data or IoT sensor level details coming all the time, and you want to do some real-time analytics or do some real-time reporting in it, using it. So KQL is the custom query language that Azure has been using for a very long time, and it is an industry-leading telemetry real-time analytics solution. So Fabric Real-Time Analytics uses this KQL engine using serverless compute and does your service telemetry in the same environment, which is Microsoft Fabric. So we can have cross workload solutions for real-time analytics, and within the same auto-managed scalable compute, you can have better real-time analytics and user-friendly interfaces and perform your analytic needs in real time. Data activator is or can be integrated together with real-time analytics to create rules and send near real-time and alerts to the end users in platforms like Teams, Outlook, or even custom notification actions, so that all your real-time analytics gets transmitted to the end users in real time as well. This is also a no code user experience, which is aimed at better sending out alerts without having to rely much on the interface itself. So the learning curve is not too steep and people can start using it right away. So this is one of the many benefits of Fabric again. So this is one of the business problems that we were trying to solve. So the business problem is when we're talking about real-time analytics, it is always the inability to monitor and respond to the events as they occur. So if we are not able to even track and respond, then the actions will always be delayed and there will be inefficiency involved. So to deal with that and tackle it, we utilize the Fabric's real-time analytics and the data streams that we have to detect and analyze events as they occur. So when we did transform all this raw event data, we were able to see some meaningful insights and we were taking immediate actions as and then. So this improved our response times. This gave us a better view of data. So because we were able to use this reports inside the same Power BI reports that we use for others, so that we'll have real-time reports also generated through Power BI and also the other reports coming from Lakehouse also in Power BI. So we have everything in a holistic view and a comprehensive monitoring system. So this gave us the leverage of proactive management and instead of delayed actions, we were taking preventive and proactive actions. So this is the solution architecture that we proposed. So data can come into event houses or from event streams. We'll be using KQL database to transform, store, and process it. And we'll use a semantic model that is coming out of this data sets so that that can be used for reporting. We'll also use reflexes, which are the data activator tools that I've told you about earlier to give alerts in real time as well. Now let's talk about data governance. So we've talked a lot about how we are unifying the data experience, but we didn't talk yet about governing all of this. So why is this data governance important? So we are enabling the community of data scientists or data professionals to work jointly on the same platform so that the data can be governed better without having to worry about governing siloed data. This is the most important benefit apart from the others that are also listed here. The others include improving the decision making timing and accuracies. It is also to have to stay compliant with all of the industry regulations. We'll be having better ROI from the data-driven governance methods. We'll also have better customer experience because of the improved data unification process. And because of near real-time analytics, we'll have better automation strategies. This will also improve the efficiency and productivity as well. Now, how Microsoft does with Fabric is through Purview. Microsoft Purview is tightly knitted together with Fabric to govern and secure your data within Fabric and its built-in capabilities. Purview allows you to employ advanced and estate-wide governance capabilities and also security capabilities. We have a lot of simplified administration and advanced governance features through Purview. Now, Fabric's native governance and security features include its admin portal, tenant settings, workspace settings, capacities, domains, experiences, etc. We'll also have, when we are talking about compliances and security, we have options to have conditional access, row level access, role based access. All these accesses can be controlled. We can have a data hub or we can endorse the data that we want to promote for better use within the organization. Lineage can be easily tracked and audits can be done. We can discover, reuse, and may use the time travel capabilities of Delta Lake to have better use of the data. Admin settings have better, even better views to monitor these uh, metrics as and when they occur, and even have the usage of the capacity monitored through the capacity metrics portal. And Purview Hub is one central repository where you can do all of this. Now, one of the case study that I would like to talk about is how our data governance team has implemented a reporting governance solutions with a leading mattress store chain. So the business challenge that the company was facing is to have frequent data brawls. It is wasting a lot of time because of the time involved in calculating the KPIs, metrics, and investigating the sources that these metrics come from. The solution that we proposed was to establish an authoritative data sources and have to track lineage from source to report so that clarity and trust is always maintained. Using this established intuitive workflows, we managed how the KPIs and metrics are verified, governed, and certified. And the results were really fascinating. We were able to enhance the credibility of reports by minimizing any inaccuracies caused, and we were almost certain that there were no inconsistencies and no errors. Thereby, we were instilling trust amongst all the stakeholders, and thus no more trust issues with the data or the reports that they have made. This enhanced the regulatory compliance and also reduced the risk of non-compliance due to the incorrect or incomplete data. We also reduced the time spent on analysis so that the underlying data can be used better to generate data-driven business outcomes. The key focus areas are data ownership, data access, establishing the trust, having some established guidelines, making some key policy changes, and creating a business glossary, which is almost always key areas for data governance. And Microsoft does this much efficient than any other solution out there. The best practice that we suggest is to have a data life cycle management system where a uh, power data users are the functional team members with deep knowledge of business and system impacts, so that they have the complete business knowledge of how the data is impacting. And the data curators are the team members that are actually responsible for uh, generating or getting this data out of the business systems. And the other team, the technical enablers, are the team members that actually provide the enablement of the governance solutions, the processing, the reporting, everything. All these three teams have a tight knit connection with each of them so that all of them can be combined to make an informed decision making and do the changes required for making impacts to any of the three pillars like process, technology, or data. And the data uh, hierarchy goes as follows. We have a data steward, we have a domain lead, we have working group of functional stakeholders, and we have data trustees, we have data sponsors and committees. So this is the best practice that we recommend for an efficient data governance within any organization. And that's it for Fabric, and I'll hand
Thank
over to
you.
Mass.
Yes, thank you so much. And I think I just want to finish this session with like two, announcement. The first announcement is that if you like what you see, I mean, like, we are doing a Copilot Studio in a day workshop. It will be in Chicago. It will be live plus also virtual. So if you cannot attend it live, I mean, you can go to our website, royalcyber.com, and then sign up for this. This will be basically a hands-on workshop. So this will be happening. And then if you are basically interested in setting up the Class Buddy, the virtual teaching assistant for your university or for your college, please reach out to us. We are doing a free, pilot. So we will basically integrate um, the virtual teaching assistant with your basically LMS system. It could be either Canvas or something else, so that you can see how it works with your university. With that, if you have any other questions, I mean, please feel free to ask the questions in the question chat, or you can also, basically ask the question live. So please go ahead if you have any questions. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a nice day. Okay, bye bye.